What is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge and we are back today with another Dark Dimension 6 video update for you all. So in today's video, we're going to be starting nodes 2 respectively for the global section, or node 4 of the whole Dark Dimension 6 progression. But having said that, we are going to be using the same 5 characters that we used previously in nodes 1. Then that was Captain America, Black Widow, Nemesis, Captain Carter, and as well as Apocalypse. I still love this team, but I will have to say that this is definitely a harder node than I anticipated. You guys will see in the progress and playthrough that we have to be very strategic in who we attack. Having said that, let's get right to it. Yeah, now that I've actually had some few attempts and tries into this node, I definitely gotta say it's much harder than the previous node. You'll see from the get-go, I had to get the RNG just right so that some of my guys didn't fall. But if you could time it just right, using Apocalypse's ultimate right after any of the cleanses that's being done by Groot or Squirrel Girl. But keep in mind too, because there's trauma on Apocalypse's ability, it's a great opportunity actually for us to utilize his ability there, and that way ensure that the cleanse doesn't strip away. And keep in mind, this is only possible because we saved up Apocalypse's energy from the previous node. So we're in a really good position. We want to essentially take down damage dealers. I personally would recommend, characters like Ghost Rider, just because they do retaliation. We activate the Nemesis bleeds there with the ultimate to heal, but as well as inflicting those bleeds, so that way it's doing a lot of work and that scaled HP. As you can see, we're very, very close to finishing Ghost Rider, but not quite there. Another key thing to make sure you're doing too is if you have Apocalypse's special, make sure you're using it on Shuri, so that way you are blocking her heals, because I believe with the Shuris that are in this node, every other turn they are healing, so providing a lot of sustain, definitely a key target to take down as well. But as you can see, a couple of Ghost Riders, a Deadpool, a Deathpool, Domino, they're doing a lot of damage, right? So we have to take advantage of a lot of the AoE damage we have, scaling from Nemesis abilities. As you can see, finding the first Ghost Rider going down. So that's a big focus for us, just taking down that initially in the first. And we also have Captain Carter bring back Captain America, so not a big deal there. That's why, it's ideal if he's the one taunting and obviously soaking up damage there. And thankfully, we do have a lot of good heals as well to keep our team going. But with one Ghost Rider down, I am now switching gears here, targeting the second Ghost Rider, if you're able to. I think, honestly, if you're aiming for Ghost Rider or Deathpool, those are solid targets. But again, just be mindful of Shuri providing the heals, because she's going to be doing a lot of support and regen. And also with Groot and Squirrel Girl, this is just a very, very frustrating wave initially, especially if you're not able to let your debuffs actually stick. So you can see here, Voodoo also providing the barrier and assisted attacks there. You really just gotta be patient, but thankfully, nobody does too crazy of damage. The exception, I think, is Deadpool, because he can actually target the weaker allies even if there's a taunt. In addition to that, Deathpool having the 5 charges. So those are definitely the key things to be mindful of. But thankfully, like I said, Captain America taunting, soaking up damage, Captain Carter doing the heals. So we can actually sustain ourselves quite a bit with the synergy, because unfortunately, not too many of these enemies are hard hitting consistently. They'll have a strong special or ultimate here and there, but then we can bide our time. And what I'm doing right now is actually just providing buffs, healing up, and building up energy again. Now, after some time, finally got the energy to get my Apocalypse ultimate once again, and we're going to do the same thing, flipping everything, but now the target is going to be this second Ghost Rider, because we want him out of the way. As you can see, how fast these allies do get their HP back, especially with Shuri and Squirrel Girl all working together. Maybe I should have went for a healer initially, but it is what it is at this point. The attempts were already made, so we are targeting the second Ghost Rider, so that way we are reducing the damage output from these enemies. But you can see here, this is where my team starts going down, and we have no choice to activate Apocalypse's ultimate once again, and utilize that on their main Deathpool there. Excuse me, the Ghost Rider there. I saw that with Nemesis. He did have his ultimate ready to go, so I figured, why the heck not? We already brought the Ghost Rider down so low, might as well trigger it to at least bring him down. So that's 2 Ghost Riders down, but we know with this wave it's going to be done because most of our team is down now. They're just cleaning up here, and yeah, boom, that is the first attack. At least 2 Ghost Riders have been taken, and we can kind of focus now on the next enemies that we want to be aware of for the next attack. Again, this is where I would caution you once again to take a look at you know, which targets you want to be facing, because keep in mind there's a lot of healers, there's damage dealers, but there's also a death pool that's also going to have the 5 charges to utilize her ultimate to instantly take down any of our allies. So something to be mindful of. I think having the ability block on a key healer such as Voodoo or Shuri is a good start. And thankfully we also have Captain America to provide the defense up, the energy. But again, we're biding our time. We're waiting for the Apocalypse ult again, and going to be using that to take down a key target. One thing to keep in mind for sure is making sure that Shuri is stunned. So by using that, I like Black Widow's supportive capabilities there. You can see we activate Apocalypse's ultimate now. And again, with each attack that we make, we just want to make sure it's meaningful. Even with the trauma, you know, it allows us the opportunity here to ensure that they stay, even with the Groot having that chance to cleanse. You know, I think Shuri was the only one that was not impacted by trauma, but we focus on her just because we know she's healing every other turn. She goes down, which is a great start for us. And now again, for this attack. Now we are rinsing and repeating once again. You know, try to keep our allies alive, but stalling. Again, I think Voodoo's a really good one to stun because it provides support. It's either him or it's Squirrel Girl because they are doing the majority of the healing. Groot's okay, but again, now we're at this point where we can sustain ourselves with constant heals and waiting for Apocalypse to build up his charges once again, because it's pretty much the Apocalypse show. The 4 characters are supporting Apocalypse to get his abilities so that way he can pretty much make meaningful progress by taking down some of these key enemies one at a time. Fast tracking here just to save you guys a bit of time. Activating the ultimate from Nemesis. See how much bleed he can do, the impacted percentage HP damage. But as well, now we get the chance here to build up the energy again for another Apocalypse ultimate. And we want to take down another key character here because, like I said, Shuri is providing a lot of heals. But then I realized at this point that Voodoo was doing some really good support capabilities here. So we go ahead, we opt to use the Apocalypse ultimate to finish Voodoo off, and now we're taking down a lot of key support characters, both the Ghost Riders. We're in a pretty good spot. We're in a pretty good spot to do some meaningful progress in this wave, especially since a lot of their key supportive characters are taken out now. Because Black Panther was already pretty weak, we go ahead, finish him off, so that's pretty good as well. And now we're just left with these other damage dealers. And keep in mind, we can see right there that Deathpool has gotten the charges there, so something to be mindful of when you run tracking and make sure that you're preventing that. If you're able to time the taunt, obviously, Captain America, it would be ideal if he can take Deathpool's ultimate, and that way we can actually res him back as well. Yeah, unfortunately, that's not the case here, though. Deadpool was able to get his crit and finish off Nemesis with a one shot right there. So you can just see how hard some of these guys still hit, even with their key supportive characters. And that's when I'm thinking to myself, the attempt is probably running low now. We might want to be careful, but I'll add some speed up, try to do as much as we can before that happens. Next, then, my Apocalypse got taken down. Deadpool decided to use the ultimate on Captain Carter, and it's a good game here. At this point, we're just in conservation mode and waiting for the defeat, so that way we can start the next attack. So pretty good first 2 attacks. I thought we were doing really good in terms of progression here, especially getting rid of some of those key characters out of our way. And now with this attack, we can really start taking down the meat and potatoes of this wave, especially the damage dealers. And it was nice that Deathpool actually used her ult, because now we're not dealing with the 5 charges, but just something to be mindful of. Unfortunately, with this wave too, there was another Shuri that actually spawned in that corner. So if you keep in mind, any Shuri that's in this node does actually use the ult every other turn. Something to be mindful of. If we don't control her, she could be healing all these guys back to full HP. Just so something to be mindful of for sure. And again here, it is the Apocalypse show, activating his ultimate once again for that detrimental damage. But as well, you know, something to be mindful of in this node is that you gotta be careful when you're using Apocalypse's ultimate too, because those security guards do have the taunt. So I got lucky in the sense here that I timed Captain America's ultimate, as you just saw there. He was able to flip away those taunts in a very timely manner, so that we can actually use now Apocalypse's ultimate to obviously finish off whoever. But yeah, it was very timely, guys. It took me a few tries to get it right. Personally, I decided and opted to go for Deathpool, Deathpool, just because of the fact that she can regen her HP quite a bit. Her 5 charges is dangerous, and getting her out of the way at least, you know, prevents her to having another damage dealer on board here, taking us down slowly. So funny enough, I was actually targeting Deathpool right there, but then I actually took out one of the enemies in the back there. So that's awesome to see. We got the 38 out of 44 now. And again, we're just targeting a death bolt because we want to take out her damage, and that way you're gonna see she's just really tanky too. So you really want to focus her. Maybe I should have taken her out earlier, but honestly, there was a couple of Ghost Riders with the healers. I still think that this was a good course of action in terms of just setting up the stage. Yes, sir. And now Deathpool does officially go down, but there does spawn actually a Morbius on that right side there. We aim for that corner because sure, he's really close to being taken down as well, and we do that just right. So perfect. Something to be mindful of though, the moment that happens, does spawn actually a couple characters. As you can see, the cloak just activated the ultimate on us, so now we're blinded with debuffs, and as well as a Gwenpool that also spawns. So that's something just to be careful about. This is a very dangerous. Know that a lot of these random enemies just come out right after we take them down, and you know, I personally was not ready for it, but it took me some time to already get to this stage. So we just decided to eat the attempt here because at least we can soak up some of their ultimate abilities to set us up for the next attempt in this node. I think if you're able to, try to draw it out as long as you can for a Gwenpool to even use her ultimate. So that way we are just trying to soak up as much damage as possible. And then in the next attempt, we'll be in a better spot. As you can see at this point, I've decided to conserve my attacks. So that way the abilities are being saved for the next attempt. And I let these guys use their specials and ultimates and get them out of the way here. Boom. So there you guys have it. My first 3 attacks, I made some pretty meaningful progress, but without a doubt, you can already see kind of how this difficulty is compared to the previous nodes we've done. So definitely node 4 is on my radar. We made, I think, a pretty sizable dent with 3 attacks, but man, it was definitely some of the more challenging enemies that we faced up against, and especially the synergy of the new warriors that we're going to be also up against too. So there's my attack history, guys. Appreciate you guys following along. I'll keep you posted as I do more attacks. Thank you as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.